everybody, and welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters, becoming fresh off of a Go Rogue victory. And we actually have their mid laner Knight standing by for an interview. So Knight, are you there? Hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing after that win? It was a little bit more of a slow start to that game, and then eventually you guys just kind of hit your spikes and started to really take over that game. Was there a moment where maybe you got a little bit nervous when you saw that Simnavac was receiving quite a lot of attention in the top side?
No, of course not. I mean, I know my top lane is really tilt-proof, and we have Corki Yumi in our team, so as long as we're not 10k down by 20 minutes, I think we're pretty happy.
Yeah, no, and I think you could definitely see it. I think once you hit that 25-minute mark, it kind of felt like it was relatively smooth sailing. Your big ones were dealing absurd amount of damage. But I want to ask you about, a Go Rogue, but then also kind of the Ultra League on a bigger scale, because I think there's been a lot of conversation around the strength of obviously your region coming into this tournament. And you yourself, actually, alongside Rebel, you've made deep runs in your previous appearance here at the Amazon European Masters. How are you feeling, on this roster in terms of, showing that the Ultra Leaguers still can fight and make it deep into the tournament?
I mean, we lost our main support, right, which is quite unfortunate. But to be honest, I still feel pretty confident that we can show pretty good performances. I also think Eska has been looking not too shabby. I think they have pretty good individual players, so they can for sure do some damage. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good overall about our teams that represent the Ultra Liga.
Well, it's a very important win for you guys, obviously going 2-1 off the back of that. So congratulations on the win. It was a really great game. And good luck with your games coming up. Hopefully we'll speak to you again soon. But we will end the interview there. So goodbye. Nice to speak to you.
Okay, it was nice to meet you. See you guys and have fun.
See you later, mate.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, let's turn our attention, Jamada, towards our second game of the day. This is the NLC first seed, X7, taking on the GLL's highlights. Sorry, yes, let's talk about this game.
Somebody doesn't know how show flows. As actually, we have highlights from that game. And as kind of spoken about with Knight, it was a very slow one. And unfortunately, for Atrax Bandao, they were not able to close out before the scaling champions came online. And as you kind of asked, right, towards Knight, how did they feel when Simavac was falling so far behind, when Pride was getting all of these resources, and they said, well, as long as we don't fall 10,000 gold behind, we should be fine. And that's exactly what didn't happen for them. They were able to keep themselves pretty much near parity for a majority of this game. I'll be very curious to see the gold graph after these highlights. And yeah, I mean, we got a bit of a Baron incident from Atrax Bandao, and it's not definitely as bad as their first one. But unfortunately, with only having 3 members escape with that Baron, they weren't really able to snowball it onto the rest of the map with that buff. And you can see from that point on, it just felt like the scaling had come online. The diving potential of Atrax Bandao composition just wasn't really there, because, you'd effectively get blown up by a Subjugate into Knight combo or FLICKR as well, who actually was the one that took over this final fight, as Knight was the one that got picked off at the very start.
Yeah, it felt like, we'd sung the praises of FLICKR, and then, his KDA was good, and, his scoreline was good, but it didn't feel like it was really FLICKR, taking over the game, and then just in this final fight went, oh yeah, I'm the big carry of this team. And you can see, we were talking about damage shares on that FLICKR graph, but you can see it was very much the Knight show, and it was a phenomenal performance on the Corki, really putting in some work for his team. And Pride, 10k gold over, 10k damage over Simnavac, but just wasn't really able to make it work. There was a few moments where, it was a little scary. Knight would Valkyrie forward, and then Pride would slam him. But Yumi's just a broken champ. What can I say? Anyway, let's turn our attention now towards our second game of the day. This is X7 taking on the GLL's first seed, Phantasma. So X7, we're going to go over to them first, the NLC first seed representative. They have had an amazing performance so far, Jamada. Absolutely stomping KC in their, was it their first game? Or second game? It was their first game of the groups. And it's Haru and Tempt. They're the two people everybody's talking about right now. This jungle mid duo are just incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for X7, right, we had maybe some questions towards the end of the domestic split in terms of, we know they're very good, yes. How strong are they really? It felt like when, they realized that they were, definitively our strongest team in the NLC, they got a little bit complacent. They definitely weren't necessarily playing to their ceiling all the time, but then they've made it here to the Amazon European Masters and they said, okay, we're turning up to 12, forget 11. And they have been absolutely tearing through everybody. And like you said, that KC game was an absolute slaughter. And it has all been off the back, it feels like, of mostly Haru and Tempt. And as we move over to Team Phantasma, bit of the opposite side of the story. Unfortunately for the GLL representatives, they have not been able to find their groove just yet, coming off the back of the fastest defeat in the group stages this split so far.
Yeah, I do feel though, you know, on the side of the GLL, you know, unfortunately it hasn't been a region that has always had the most amazing showings at the Amazon EU Masters. And the NLC in the last couple of years has just come alive as one of the major regions in this tournament. There's now 2 back-to-back finals for the region, still unable to find a victory under their belt. And X7 were very much a team designed and built around winning this tournament. So for Phantasma, it's, you know, this would be the upset of the tournament. If they find this win, I will be singing their praises till the day I die. This would be an amazing game from them. But we're into Champ Select. We're seeing the Camille getting banned away as the first pick here from X7.
Yeah, and actually on that note, I was speaking with Kasing whilst you were streaming a couple of nights ago, and I said it would be pretty funny if you managed to take down Casey in such a convincing fashion and then you were to lose to Team Phantasma in the same week. And his response to that was to simply giggle. So I don't feel like anybody on X7 is particularly feeling short of confidence. As we, like you say, we move into picks and bans. Camille, Jarvan taken off the table and away from the GLL representatives. Ari and Volibear, I think 2 very strong bans to take away from Tempt and Haru. Of course, you would expect Zeri potentially gets banned on red side, but X7 as a team haven't necessarily shown much of a tendency to play it too frequently, in my opinion. So you could actually see it left up in turn of other bans, maybe again towards another Haru champion or even Tempt, right? We've seen Vex bans come out in the early stages against Tempt too. I wouldn't be too surprised to see that one, but Vaynedeta also has the Misfortune removed away.
Alrighty, well, the final ban coming in from the side of Team Phasma. See what they actually want to take away as their final ban. It's going to be that Zeri from Nata. Kind of an understandable pickup here. This does leave a couple of things still open over to the side of X7. Feels like kind of free to pick what they want, and they went for the Xayah immediately, completely without, you know, even needing to think about it on the side, though. Of the GLL representatives, they are going to lock in the Viktor and the Aphelios very, very quick into this one.
Okay, that's definitely very interesting. So what I would hope for the GLL side is that they try and round out their draft with a form of frontline and hopefully engage at the same time. When you go for something like Aphelios and Viktor and that's your opening statement, you say, okay, we're playing this one to scale, boys. We're not trying to do anything too aggressive in the early stages. And this does give X7 the opportunity to go for something super aggressive like Yasuo Diana.
Let's do it.
Diana,
Let's go.
It's always coming in, and there you go. We're going to see Tempt on his Yasuo. It's going to be very exciting. Haru on something a little more close to a true carry orientated. This is not very frequently that we get the opportunity to see Haru on these full damage carries. As over on the opposite side, what will be the choice of champion? I mean, something like Akali wouldn't be too bad if you wanted to sort of like blind remove away 2 picks from Jaeger, and then you would definitely have your jungle pool pinch. And I think something like Olaf is going to do wonders into this mid jungle duo. Once you hit level 6, I mean, you just can't really get ulted by the Yasuo. So it does mean you kind of get to run them both down for free. And it's definitely something that at that spike, you will be able to contest the mid jungle of X7 with. So I like this rotation coming in from the Greek side. We'll see how they try and round out the bans out. I'd expect Rakan gets taken off the table just for the simple fact of Rakan, plus it also has a knock-up to set up Tempt with. And then maybe they look for another enabler. Maybe they go for someone like Alistar as another ban away, but I definitely expect another pick towards Kasing to be taken away from him, or maybe they go for something like Ornn, just take it off the table for Jaeger as well. Could definitely be another option, but also his Tryndamere has been very terrifying so far, and that Jax ban kind of just says, okay, we're probably going for an attacker like that Tryndamere, so we don't have to deal with it. And I expect X7 will just take away another champion from Bako's champion pool.
Yeah, it feels like that should be where the attention is going to go down from these guys. Just waiting it out a little bit longer before they make that final ban. Obviously, they could look towards something that, you know, they might not want to play into in the bot lane as well. There is options obviously down there as well. They are going to take away the rails, so they kind of want that anti-engage or that engage that could potentially shut them down. We'll see now what the pickup is going to be here.
trying to think what support they would want if they're banning Rail, and I feel like the answer is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't quite get it. Because it's definitely not Alistar. Alistar has a very fine time into that, so we'll see. I think the issue here for Team Phantasma is if they go for their support and it's something super aggressive. I actually really like this Renata pick. Simply because right now X7, I mean, no matter how you splice it, it's probably going to be dive, and especially I think what would have been the right play for X7 is you go Alistar if the support matchup was good for it, or you go Nautilus just simply because single target knockup as well definitely could work. They could just ignore it and leave the Diana to be the only setup with this, and I think going something like Leona would definitely make a lot of sense. You mitigate the mid-game pains of playing Nautilus into Renata and getting berserked and or attacking your own teammates and rearing them down. And it seems like Jaeger could also just opt into a little more frontline. I mean, they have plenty of damage between Nata, Tempt, and Haru on that Diana, Yasuo, and Xayah, so a little more frontline definitely wouldn't hurt. But also, something else to just kind of dive and bring more damage wouldn't be too bad either for Jaeger, but been very willing so far at this tournament to pull out either style of play, and it seems like we will get that sort of dive, a little more heavy damage, and it will be the Jayce. I definitely like the hover of Irelia. I think it could actually do a lot of work here.
I actually really like the hover of the Cassiopeia as well. A lot of kind of zone control you can make with that champion into like the Diana and the Yasuo who want to be jumping into you. Obviously, keeping in mind they have a lot the Viktor in, so maybe I'm in a complete fool and forgot about that one. But they are just going to go for the Ornn, pick themselves something that can start these fights in these engages. I'm going to be real with you. I actually really like the GLL's comp here. I think Team Phantasma have put themselves a really nice team together. The question is can they execute it versus X7?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the big thing, right? Will they be able to actually execute on their end? Because right now, I look at the draft and I say, who do you actually play towards as Team Phantasma, right? Because, I mean, you definitely don't want to play towards Jayce in the Ornn lane as Nikolex. You probably can play the 2v2 in the mid lane once you have access to level 6, but that's, you know, effectively 6 levels, you know, sort of 7-8 minutes of time where you just kind of allow Haru to basically get free farm. So we'll see how the priority goes. I think that's going to be the big thing for a lot of these lanes, how priority goes and whether or not Nikolex can actually go and invade Haru and try and slow down that farm pattern, because with the Olaf, that's the kind of things that you want to do. You want to try and get aggressive as early as possible, but I think the lane matchups might not actually enable him to do this.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on kind of how the execution will go down for these games. I think, you know, obviously X7, it's very much like Diana Yasuo just want to get a big wombo combo off. But on the side of Phantasma, they actually do have a very, very decent team for like team fighting, especially in these shorter kind of range fights as well. The Yasuo and the Diana want to get up in your grill. You slap down the hostile takeover in that. You got the Ornn knock-up. You got obviously the gravity field. There's lots of tools that actually they have to use here. And I think that's actually quite a scary team just to be launching yourself into if you're on the side of X7.
No, I 100% agree. I think if we can get to those later stage portions of the game where, you know, like you say, all of these tools are available online, and especially like, you know, the scaling of X7 in terms of the damage that all attacking champions can do, if they get hit with Berserk, they're going to one-shot each other. Even with 2 or 3 auto attacks, it's going to cause complete chaos. I think definitely one of my only issues at the moment is this Ornn. How often is it going to be able to actually engage with the Ornn Horn? Because Tempt is going to have access to the Wind Wall. And if he's on top of his carries, it's not really going to be too much of a threat. See how that one plays out as X7 going to try and poke and prod into the bottom side of the jungle. They'll clear out that ward, and they will get information on this blue buff. So they will note that Nikolex isn't going to be starting on this camp, it seems like, as he passes towards the top side.
Other than that, it just looks like it is a relatively standard start here. Just a couple of wards have been placed down to see for any invades or any kind of early action or shenanigans that could come down. So Nikolex will start on his red side and Haru starting on his blue side. So both junglers will be on the same side of the map. This does mean there might be some room for something to happen as Bako actually taking a pretty rough trade there versus Jaeger to start it off.
Yeah, that is a very, very tough trade. But I think when you're in the Ornn lane, you're just going to sit there, heal up with your Thorn Shield, probably even have second wind. As the bottom lane, aside from the mid 2v2, of course, of X7 is definitely a lane I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. I think Kasing has been having a pretty decent tournament so far, and Nata as well was able to provide so much on the Starker on a much different champion today inside of the Xayah, but for now, Sanity and Vaynedeta getting the better of level 1. Just a little bit more of a range advantage there, of course, in the earlier stages.
Yeah, this level 1 mark is going to be rough for X7 in the bot lane. You also see Peppe having a pretty okay time shoving in Tempt early in the mid lane. Tempt going to be okay with that himself, has now hit that level 2. So far, the side of Team Phantasma, they're actually kind of okay with the lane stay in at least 2 of those lanes. And you expected your Ornn lane to have, you know, a rougher go of it. As Tempt just going in for a light trade, going to get caught out by the gravity field. And that trade actually then goes pretty rough for him.
Yeah, betrayed by the minions. They actually continue to push forward instead of aggro onto Tempt, and kind of meant that he didn't have a taxi back out on the wind dash, and does lose a little more HP. But again, sustain runes in his inventory more often than not, and will just sustain back up. But again, you're looking at that lane. The kill threat comes in level 6. Peppe has actually brought the gets caught by the gravity field again. That did actually bring the exhaust to try and alleviate some of the burst that could come out from the duo, but I'm really not sure how frequently it's going to help him, because there's just so much damage between the both of them.
Yeah, it's going to be... And that's the problem is like when there's 2 people both capable of burst, getting burst by, well, you know, slowing down or reducing the burst of one of them doesn't really help, especially when you're such a squishy champion. But, you know, it could be the difference maker. We'll have to keep our eyes on it. I'm not going to naysay it yet, as Haru did lose out on that crab on the bottom side, as Nikolex was able to smite that one away. But Tempt, now with the pressure in his lane, able to move in, place some vision down, spot out, and once again we return to the top side where Bako is not having the most enjoyable top lane.
Yeah, he's weak side duty. And Nikolex could actually run in as a ghosted, so they're going to go for this.
Oh, they found the knockup onto Haru. Haru may just have to flash. He jumps away to the minions for safety, but the axe comes through, and Nikolex finds the kill. And now Jaeger's on the run, has a flash himself to get over the wall if he needs to, and will just be able to get away from that. But that, a very greedy place for Haru to be sitting, and it cost him heavily.
Yeah, I don't think expecting to be on top of a ward, because you can see the ward's dead now, but that's why they know where he was, and Haru just doesn't flash early enough, tries to dash out onto the creep first, pays for it with his life. Jaeger, fortunately, Nikolex had chucked that undertow to execute the Diana and wasn't able to reposition to go and pick it back up. Otherwise, I fear Jaeger would have also lost his life as well. Great stuff from the jungler, the JLL side, and they pick themselves up first blood against X7.
This is the first team in Group B as well, X7. Well, Team Phantasma unable to find a single win. You can see the scores at the top of the screen for these teams currently in Group B. But it has been about Haru and Tempt. These are the 2 players who have been a driving force domestically for the side of X7. Obviously, Nata and Kasing have also been phenomenal in both European Masters and in domestic games. But Haru and Tempt are the 2 who, when you talk about this team, these are the 2 names that kind of come out of your mouth first. So to get a kill, to get first blood on Haru, who's honestly just a bit of a disrespectful place to be basing, gonna be really big. But you can see Haru just bolting towards that level 6 mark, wants to get it, wants to look to try and set up Tempt as soon as possible. And honestly, expect it to happen. Tempt is basing kind of preemptively for this action, goes back, gets the Berserker's Greaves. You can actually see Sanity has roamed into mid as well, just to be there in case something did happen.
Yeah, did indeed. And I actually want to see what Nikolex does now with this little bit of, you know, additional tempo, a little bit of additional gold in the back pocket of the Olaf now, because you can see this one more jungle camp should bring up to level 6, and then he's ready to rock and roll and Ragnarok through the mid jungle 2v2, or even try and run down Jaeger up here in the top side. No ghost available, and the fact that Jaeger has phase rush could make this difficult, but instead the wave will shove in, and we'll just look to pick up this Scuttle Crab instead. And it looks like Peppe actually has first move, and there's no level 6 available from Haru, and Bako also has first move, so it could just end up being a bit of a fist fight.
Oh, there it comes. The flash is going down. Haru's going to get knocked up. Nikolex needs to find the slow. They've got the knockups. They've got everything they need. All right. And Haru is being bullied. Tempt not caught out by the gravity field, has the charged up knockup, but Ignite and Chaos Storm enough to zone him. Haru, not the start, gets the crab, but gives up way too much in response. Nice little handshake, actually, as they find a lot of damage out. Nata has to heal. Kasing's going to jump away. The Gravitum's going to keep them pinned for the moment. The X7's bot lane should be able to get away from this.
Yeah, and on the top side, just a little bit disrespectful there from Haru, honestly. You know that Baku's going to have first move, and he's going to just call the Forge God down if he really had to, and he did. And Peppe, of course, also basically having first move. Tempt is not able to assist him, and now Jaeger too far forward in the lane. Ragnarok's there. He's just going to get run down.
He has no flash as well. Gets himself a bit of movement speed from the acceleration gate. Waiting to bop Nikolex away, but Haru's actually level 6 and in the area. They're jumping in. This could be bad. The moonfall's there. Haru finds his revenge. Bako will go down as well. And X7 find a double in the top lane.
Yeah, they just overreach. On the GLL side, they really wanted to take down Jaeger. No armor available from Bako because he used it to actually lock up Haru towards the mid-side play. And now all of a sudden, Haru's back in the game. He's 2-2. And he's actually got a shutdown on his head because he picked up a shutdown of his own. Up here on the top side, get the replay of it. And again, no Ornn ultimate means that Jaeger doesn't get set up further up in the lane, uses the acceleration gate to get a little more distance, makes it back towards his tower. And of course, you know, Nikolex, he does connect these undertows. You lose all of the resists. You're not on the next patch yet. As the Olaf. Of course, that rework looks pretty interesting as Haru just comes in, cleans up. Brings down the power of the moon. Yeah, and now he also just has the Rift Herald, so that's so much gold. Actually, could we get a check-in on the gold? Because that was 2 kills. Now he's going to have the Herald, so he's going to pick up at least, you know, sort of 200-ish gold if he's splitting it. That's first item already there and available, if my mental mass is correct, for Haru. And that's a big shift in momentum all of a sudden, because honestly, it felt like Team Phantasma was starting to not necessarily run away with it, but potentially build the foundations to do so.
Yeah, that's a really nice pick up there for them. Good news for Peppe is Moonfall was on cooldown for a bit, so the potential to get Yasuo one-ball combo did disappear somewhat, but is going to be back up and available. Nikolex, though, still is 2-1, does have a slight tempo advantage and is looking to start up this dragon. Going to get chunked out pretty heavily, and with Kasing making his way over, they're now aware that this is going on, but not in position as Haru actually had gone back to base, bought the proto belt. Nikolex is just going to have to give up that dragon. Nikolex able to give up, pick up that dragon as XL give it up. I swear I get there in the end.
Got there in the end. I was actually giggling at Kasing being petty enough to drop another control ward to deny Nikolex the gold. Puts it in the tribush and just wastes a little bit of his time as well. Now level 6 is available for everybody. And I really wonder where the next play will be for either of these teams, really. Seems like so far Team Phantasma, despite the top side being what you'd expect X7 play into, they've been playing into it a little bit more successfully.
Oh, doesn't actually feel it.
Haru.
Oh, pop the ultimate, actually. They're looking for Haru. Haru tries to get the proto belt off, jumps in with the moonfall. There's the last breath. There's the combo. And to the skies, Jaeger goes. Peppe will fall. And Nikolex now being chased down. The slows are big, and it will just about save his life as Tempt flashes over the axe. And one last steal. Tempest will secure the kill. Now he's chasing for a little bit more. The Windwall comes out, finds the knock-up on to Vaynedeta, but Haru zoning away, teleports coming in, and this could be a big turnaround. They've got the hostile takeover. It's going to collapse onto everyone. It's an absolute cluster. Haru dodging away. Nata's trying to find the feathers onto Vaynedeta, and Haru's just about to survive. They get the heal, they get the survive. Nata pulls back the feathers, and X7 have found the team fight underneath the tower. It started in mid, but it ends in bot.
And it ends in bot indeed. It looks so good. Maybe the overextension, potentially the Berserk ultimate from Sanity was so huge. It was followed up by a massive Ornn ultimate, but it just wasn't enough. Nikolex unfortunately misses the first undertow because Haru checks the bush with a ward before he walks into it. He means to sidestep, and then just see Pro Belt still has the movement speed, makes it with the dash into that moonfall, and then the last breath comes in as well. Peppe, not long for the world. Jaeger is able to run him down, and then Nikolex, you think, okay, Jaeger turns around, should be dead. Tempt has tier 2 boots, flashes over the undertow, great flash, doesn't even use the wind wall, runs him down, also ignites him to cut the healing. Then this is the point where you think maybe this is an overextension because the Ornn ultimate comes down, the wind wall is not up yet. Vaynedeta heals back up to full HP, and this ultimate hits everybody. Double knock up, and you think, okay, surely they die, but there's just no follow-up after the initial Ornn actual knock up itself. Vaynedeta actually gets bailed out, but then you can see, look at all the feathers now he's able to pull in. And I mean, if he's not exhausted, he immediately one-shots both of them. And you can see Kasing and Tempt are free to wail on Bako. And that fight gets turned on its head, and now they're looking for Nata. No ultimate, still has flash.
Does have the flash, the Featherstorm not available, but Vaynedeta's going to get pulled into the Moonfall. The pop is enough. A massive heal from the Gore Drinker. Haru survives and gets yet another kill.
And man, Haru has turned this game around. He started 0-2. He gets the counter gank off in the top side where Team Phantasma, they just unrightfully overextend. And now he sits 4-3-3, 91 CS, level 9, and has a bounty on his head.
I also want
instrumental.
I also want to note, Jamada, during that whole fight, there was like 2.5 waves that Vaynedeta lost, and then comes back and then just loses another wave to the tower and the tower. Look at the CS lead starting to build up for Nata. Already got the Eclipse finished up. Is now going to go back on the base after getting those kills and getting that tower with all those plates. That's a lot of gold to get spent. Warhammer instantly picked up. It's hard. Vaynedeta, you know, building towards that Gale Force, but is a ways away still.
But not only that, Jaeger, you know, also spent a little bit of time in the top side ahead of Bako. So I kind of want to ask, though I'm very hesitant to, can we swap over to the gold? I want to know where leads lie. Yeah, oof is definitely the correct way to put it. Look at the jungle lead. I mean, it's top to bottom. There's a lead everywhere, really. But like jungle, big turnaround for Haru. Looked a little bit shaky. And again, maybe a little bit of complacency in the very early stage, but able to capitalize. And now Haru, Bako, probably dead.
Yeah, a bit of an optimistic shock blast there from Jaeger. I guess in case our flash came out. But that is going to be a nice and easy kill as the Solar Flare lands onto 2. They get the Zenith Blade as well. They get the stuns. Sanity throws out the Insanity as amazing hostile takeover comes in. But Nata's coming in over the wall. The stopwatch is going to get used and Haru is just going to continue the fight for now. But everybody has closed in. No Moonfall available. And Sanity, that was a beautiful hostile takeover to save the day, as Nata is just going to be such a cheeky so-and-so for that one.
I love how you default to cheeky so-and-so. Oh, Vaynedeta.
Haru. He's not going to be able to find him. He's going to die before he can find the kill. In comes Kasing with a potential turnaround, and Knight's being used, and the Gore Drinker won't do enough, but Haru may just find another. No, he can't. Nata coming in. I told you he's a cheeky so-and-so, but he misses out on the ultimate. Haru's able to get it. Sanity can't find the end. The plate. The ball back. Nata coming out huge. Here comes the go man, though. Nata dodging away. He's actually just making it. What is he doing? He won't die. Nata finally falls. A shutdown gift over, but Bako should crumble to Haru. That was the most messy fight I've seen in such a long time, Dramana.
I'm not even going to attempt to break that one down. Even if there's a replay, I'm just going to laugh at it. Haru is the biggest benefactor of it all. Picked up, I don't even know, 4? I think he picked up every kill there, bar 1. And all the while, Tempt wasn't even present. He was just in the bottom lane, farming away, and he even picks up the dragon for X7 as Jaeger
might be feeling himself a little bit here.
Yeah. And that could actually cost him the Herald. I mean, at the very least, it's going to stop the takedown, and maybe this does actually equal a Herald response from Team Phantasma. Let's see what they want to do. Jaeger's dead, no teleport. But the issue is Peppe is down on the bottom side, has to rotate over, and I think X7, fully aware of this, they want to try and force the fight now.
Yeah, here comes the call of the Forge God. They're looking for Haru. Remember, he's worth a lot. Stopwatch is coming in. Watch for the Yasuo. Can they find it? The Moonfall comes down. Haru gets a lot of damage off the shutdown. Picked up for Nikolex. This should just be the Rift Herald over to the GLL first seed.
Yeah, I mean, X7, they're just having a little bit too much fun. I'm not really sure what's going on, but Team Phantasma doing what they should be doing, punishing overextensions like that, overreaches like that from Haru, and Haru gives over a shutdown. Fortunately, it doesn't go into the hands of Peppe or the Aphelios in Vaynedeta. It goes over to the Olaf, not the worst person in the world to give it to. And I said, observers, I would just laugh at this replay because it's start to finish. It's just hilarious, isn't it? I mean, starts off with now doing that. Fortunately, Haru does bring Vaynedeta down below lethal. I know the bailout looked maybe a little bit misleading. Kasing just decides, I think I've got lethal for the Olaf without remembering that Gore Drinker perhaps exists. And then Nata comes in. Featherstorm, able to pick up Nikolex, not able to pick up Sanity. No, I take it back. I forgot. Yeah, it's Haru that gets that kill. Nata then overreaches a little bit, but the feathers come back and Sanity not long for the world. And then eventually the ghosted Ornn.
It's actually criminal how long Nata lived here.
It is.
It goes for so long.
Yeah. And it's a 600 shutdown for the Ornn as well. I mean, I guess better to give it to, you know, an Ornn than, you know, the likes of, again, the 2 hyper carries of Viktor or Aphelios. But still, giving over a shutdown, it's still gold that you're going to swing back over into the Ornn's favor, which he's going to use very happily. Peppe, you are in danger, my friend.
Chuckles, I'm in danger. Looks like he's aware of it, though. And he gets off the bus, but Tempt now sitting with Haru. One big moonfall is going to be catastrophic as... Look for the quick handshake. The ghost actually being popped by Nikolex here.
Haru has flash.
Haru does have flash. He has moonfall. They are so grouped as well.
Oh, okay. That was very spooky for the Greek side. And actually, Nikolex just burned his ghost. Not sure why. Not sure where he's off to. He's having a little bit of a jog. Jaeger on the bottom side. Jogs it down towards that tier 2. Picks that up for himself. Now forcing the mid lane Vaynedeta. Gale force away. And X7 just slowly but surely chipping away at all these towers. The Herald, which was picked up by the overextension, is going to be used on the top side by its own. You're going to crash into the tower. And Peppe will try and take this one down. Nikolex is here waiting.
Yeah, Tempt should be able to get this as well before the tower goes down. So that's even more a tower shutdown that has just been denied for maybe a little longer. We'll see whether or not it actually will fall.
And I actually want to make a bit of a point about the objective bounties this game, because X7, we've seen them, you know, 2-3 times already. We'll say having a little bit too much fun with this game, perhaps. You give over a kill or 2 kills, maybe even 3, in the kind of position where Phantasma can pick up a tower, maybe worse 2. That's a lot of additional gold. It's like almost 1,000, I think. It depends on what the gold bounties themselves are. I think they vary game per game. Well, just of course on the state of the game. So they need to make sure that they aren't as sloppy as they have been over the last sort of course of 10 minutes or so. Because those objective bounties will help Team Phantasma claw back into this game. And you have to remember the scaling is definitely something that they can rely on with the Aphelios, with the Viktor. These champions, they love being dove on because it means that the enemy team is then in range to actually use, have their spells be used on Tempt.
Tempt's in a whole lot of hurt, has to flash away, dodging out on the axe, but that's the shield bow, does land the knock up. Smart enough to not take that. But they were just sitting top lane as a free man for a long time, and Vaynedeta just gonna have to accept that this could just be his tower as a consequence, although they have got the Hex Gates to kind of reposition around the map really fast if they need to. And this tower should still fall as the exhaust comes out. It was a spellbook exhaust, so don't worry. Not a complete waste.
Yep, just wanted to have his flash back up. You imagine as Phantasma mid-jungle comes back out through the Hex Gates. They're here. They look like they want to contest this, but they are over 6,000 gold down. And Tempt is making his way down with the armor. They actually know where Tempt is. They're going to try and
Tempt has no flash.
Yeah, he could just be dead.
Puts out the wind walls way too early, dodges away. No! That was beautiful. It's going to get double man knocked up for the moment, but look for Haru. Look for the engage. This could be the moment. Everybody starts to go berserk as the hostile takeover is going to get used. Haru's waiting for the opportunity. Massive ultimate coming out from the side of Vaynedeta, but it's not enough as Haru's in the area. They're not completely grouped up enough yet. Tempt's healing for the moment. Only going to force Sanity to flash. That could have been a lot messier for the side of X7, but the gold lead is still very significant.
Oh, it really could have been a new... I mean, you can see some of the damage that's available to Team Phantasma. It's definitely nothing to sneer at. X7, again, just kind of being a little bit too disjointed there. Tempt on the top side, make his rotation down to the dragon, call out, and I believe just the blue ward. Could have been also that ward just above the Grump as well. Either or, doesn't matter what it was. Team Phantasma almost made a pick of him, then almost made a decent team fight out of it as well. It was them that had to end up retreating.
Haru has found Nikolex there. They do have a little bit of damage. Almost dodging out on the Everfrost as Tempt's going very, very low. Has to use the stopwatch to buy a bit of space. Haru, now he's the one stopwatching. That's one shot down. That's an answer in return from Haru. He finds the Moonfall, gets a lot of damage off, and Nata's making his way over. But he only has Kasing. Jaeger's on the flank. Can he find a good shot blast? He's going to go for it. Only lands on the Sanity. Here's the Ornn. Gets the stun, gets the lockup. No recast. Nata finds one in response as Sanity is now going to get pulled in. Gets himself a little bit of a shield off for now, but it's not going to be enough. The feathers are pulled forward and pulled backwards as Peppe will lose his life. Vaynedeta, the only one standing, and Jaeger is not done. To the skies and to the grey screen. X7 find the ace.
Yeah, take a Bako Kasing. He just solo won that team fight for X7. He stopped the recall on the Forge God. He also then just went absolutely ham up towards the Tribush. We'll get the replay of it straight away. And I mean, Haru, Tempt, straight into Nikolex. I'm not expecting how much damage this Olaf can actually chuck out. And I mean, this is why I called it out as being a pretty good rotation in the draft into this duo. Of course, now we're talking about later into the game, right? 20-ish plus minutes. It can still work wonders in moments like this where you face check into it. Peppe, no threat really of dying to Diana, but I want you to really pay attention to Kasing throughout most of this fight. Sees Bako wants to get the Forge God down, stuns him, even chucks the armor on top of him just to ensure that doesn't come down, and then looks like he's gonna just fully commit on Sanity. Once he sees the bailouts in, flash into the Zenith Blade. Another stun comes in onto Peppe, and then it sets up for Nata to flash forward with the Featherstorm, bring Peppe into kill range, and then of course Vaynedeta can then get run down as well. Excellent team fight from Kasing.
You're right. That was an amazing team fight by Kasing. He played that incredibly well. And you hit on him at the beginning as well, saying, you know, Kasing has been absolutely amazing this tournament. It's been some really, really good performances from him, and continuing that streak as X7 are setting up for the Baron. Jaeger just half health Sanity. He was already a little poked, but a little bit more additional poke to just chip away at him. Xayah plus the Yasuo means this goes down real quick, and I actually think that gravity field might just have saved Team Phantasma from getting jumped on by Tempt and Haru there.
Definitely a pretty strong choice. As reset will just come in. They don't want to push any further off the back of the Baron. They want to spend their gold. And they want to fight Tempt. I'm just looking at Tempt's inventory there.
Yeah, he just sold a Guardian Angel.
Yeah, he went for GA and he was like, actually, you know what? I want damage. And just went into a pickaxe instead.
I can respect it.
Yeah, no, I can respect it as well. But, you know, at a point like this, maybe you just want another completed item. You know, Peppe is actually at 2 himself, 2.5 with that needlessly large rod. Could be going to the Shadow Flame, could be going into Death Cap. I think both work pretty well into the composition of what X7 have. And Ionization as well. Let's see what that third item completion is. I expect a Death Cap though, just to start really peaking the damage. So with this Baron buff, you expect X7 to just try and set up in this 4-1 formation. Jaeger on one side, the rest of the team on the other. And I think Team Phantasma, they're just going to have to make a decision on where they want to engage. I think, yeah, just call the Forge God onto Jaeger, but I think it's just going to be dissuasion, nothing more. Not enough follow-up. And that's that tool gone, and now X7, they just immediately pounce on the mid lane. Nothing more they can do about that.
Looking for potential dive, but decide to call it off. Don't go for it yet. Inhibitor going pretty low. Sanity throws out the handshake, but it's not going to quite hit. And this will be the mid lane inhibitor falling. Mid lane inhibitor tower next up as Jaeger gets a cheeky shot blast off onto a couple of members. We haven't had the big Yasuo Diana combo onto multiple people yet. And it's always a threat. And you can see Team Phantasma being very, very afraid of that. Haru blinks in forward. Tornado doesn't quite hit. Because here it comes, Haru, waiting for his opportunity, waiting for people to group. The slows are big. Ghost has actually been popped by Nikolex there, who pops the ultimate and runs in on to one. They go for the moonfall. There it is. Only one hit, but it's going to be enough to find an absolute flattening of a team fight. Peppe goes golden, but his towers will crumble for him, and his team will fall as well. 26 minutes on the clock, and X7 continue their streak at the Amazon EU Masters. They are 3-0.
Yeah, they're going to be moving into the second round robin, not having dropped a single game in a very dominating game at that, but still, you know, questions to be asked of that early game. You know, a little bit sloppy if you're talking about playing into a team like Team Phantasma. You want a pretty clean game. Obviously, when they come with Diana Yasuo, and again, the topic of complacency in situations like this can definitely come in, but still looked very dominating nonetheless come the end of the game. just kind of feel bad for Team Phantasma, to be honest with you. They just tried so hard, especially Nikolex, right? Got things going really well, but I think it's just that one overextension in the top side, which cost them so much because it was a double kill, which then immediately puts Haru immediately back in the game. And then just because of the timer, Herald was there for the taking, and it just meant a gold snowball across the map, and play after play just continued to go in X7's favor.
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing game from X7. Obviously, there were a few shaky moments in that early game that I'm sure they'll take a look at. But for now, we're going to throw ourselves to a quick break. When we're back with our third game, which is Team Esker versus Bifrost. And we'll also be breaking down this previous game. So we'll see you in a moment. Don't go anywhere.